Jalen Royals. So I love the receiver class. It's got a lot of guys I like. It was really hard to narrow it. I might even do maybe one or maybe two next week if Marcus is going to do Bond. I chose different kind of guys. So they have similarities, but I wanted to give a variety of types of receivers because I see online everyone's like, well, we don't have like a true slot. Well, we don't have an X. Well, Rice is not a true X. We need a real X. It's like, first of all, shut up. I mean, dude, everyone's a friggin' expert. Everyone's a friggin' scout. I'm surprised our scouting department doesn't have thousands of people on it. Royals. Okay, so built like a brick, really tough. He's fluid and smooth when he does everything. 98 percentile in contested catch. Can make catches with his arms fully extended, right? Nuanced route runner. He attacks the ball. He goes for the ball, right? He doesn't just wait. He's not one of those wait for it guys. Strong versus the press. I really liked him because of that. Really good against the press coverage. He's got like a body type of Jamar Chase. Actually, you can see right there. He's got a very Jamar Chase body type right there. Foot injury this year, so he played through that. He showed a lot more in 2023. Wasn't like he had a bad injury, but I mean, or bad year, but you showed more in 2023. A lot of screens and hitches this last year. Gained a little weight to his frame this last year. Doesn't get wide open separation, but he's really good at getting position and keeping it and shielding defenders off. So he's really hard to beat to the football because one, he's really good at getting position, and two, he attacks the ball. Great first step after the catch. He's good at wrong footing right when he catches the ball. Sounds like someone we know at tight end. Really good at doing a false step somewhere, a little shimmy and then going. Relatively new to receiver, so he's really polished considering how new he is to the position. Can play X just based off his hands and getting press coverage off of him, and super polished. Okay, so here's a player comp. I read Devontae Smith ball like tracking in the air. Very smooth fluidity like Amari Cooper. Not like super fast, but just a very fluid runner. And this is an interesting one. Jermaine Kearse comps too, which is interesting, I thought.
I listened to a brief thing on Jalen Royals. Obviously, there's a lot of Kansas City fans who want Jalen Royals because Kansas City Royals, and to have him there would be that's a lot of people want him. But Steve Smith did a kind of deep dive on him, and he talked about how he reminds him. His comp was DJ Moore. He said he sees a lot of DJ Moore in Jalen Royals, and obviously DJ Moore, pretty solid receiver. So you're getting him. So I don't mind. JD, what are your thoughts on Jalen Royals?
I like Jalen Royals. I've seen him. I watched his film. He does a great job, man. Like you said, he pretty much catch everything. Very athletic. I think the thing is probably going to get him is his suddenness, his quickness, possibly getting in and out of breaks. But he runs good routes. He's he does a good job. Productive. Like in the two seasons, like you said, you got 71 to 55 yards up there, catches. Big body. The question is, what are the Chiefs looking at, right? What are we? How are they thinking about using a guy like this? And I could see him probably coming in. He'd be a great fit as far as a guy that would get some reps. So I don't know where you would get a guy like this. I don't even know where he's projected, to be honest with you. But I do like him as far as a receiver wise. So
second, third.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, this is probably a guy. If you want him, you'd have to trade up from our second pick in the third, or just take him with our first pick in the third. I don't know if you'll get to our second pick in the third.
Okay, so they got him out. They're listed outside X receiver. Obviously for us, we don't go through labels with the Chiefs. We just don't.
Yeah.
Especially, for a wide receiver. But I don't know if they'll shoot for what you're looking for. Would they covet a guy like this more than all the other guys? Right. That's the question. I mean, if you're thinking about maybe your second or third pick, I guess it just depends on how everything falls. So, is he a long shot as far as like that? Being projected on you said second and third round. And that is kind of crazy because this, we're kind of caught in this little, area where there's going to be a lull to what we do. Like there's going to be some space and time.
I mean, but we have flexibility. We have the second to last pick of the second. We have the second pick of the third, and like one of the last picks of the third. So we can either trade back from that first, third spot, 10, 15 if we want, or 10, or we can trade up from that last pick of the third to get a guy. So it's good. We're at both ends, so we can really think about strategically how do we best get this guy without getting rid of all of our assets. So
that's the question. The question is, what are you giving up if you move up? What is that going to cost you?
I'm a bigger move back guy myself, G.
Oh, okay, all right.
Get some more assets that way.
Huh?
Get some more assets that way.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, what are they going to be worth? I mean, are you going to get what you want? And you probably could. You probably, yeah. So, yeah, no. But as far as just his athletic ability stuff, man, I like it. I do like it.
Yeah, is that your favorite realistic wide receiver prospect in the draft for you, Teja?
All the guys I like are so different. So I mean, I would be told. I mean, I wouldn't sit there being like getting mad if we chose him over the other guys I'm going to talk about. I would be fine with any of the guys they choose that I like. I would be fine for different reasons because then I'll have a decent idea of what they want to do and how they envision everyone else and how he works with them.
Gotcha.
Right. So it's all the guys I'm going to talk about have their own like certain skill sets they have. So it'll be pretty obvious why they want each one of them if they pick one of them. But you can't go wrong with some of these guys. The receiver class is. I was listening to two guys, former PFF guys, talk about all the receivers, and they were like, outside of the top three, I mean, I couldn't say pick one or the other from like 4 to like 12. Like whatever goes with what you want in a receiver. Like I can't argue. I probably couldn't argue with you from 4 to 11, 4 to 12. So, and one of those guys had Emeka 11th
overall.
Oh, I'm sorry. He had him 7th overall. He had Royals 4th, actually.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of weird lists, man. I think I saw earlier today. A to Z Sports had Judkins. I mean, talk about how people just have different tastes in this draft. They had Judkins as the 9th overall running back, and that's like crazy low. So guys like RJ Harvey were ahead of him. So like a lot of these different draft experts, they have like the weird rationales behind all these things. So
yeah, I mean, look, it's right and wrong. I mean, it's
a crapshoot. They're trying to put their analysis in a GM on a GM, and
you never know. I mean, some guys go chalky, some guys go out on a limb. Last they were talking on the same show, they were talking about how Chris Sims had Brian Thomas number 2 last year. No one had that. Not many people had that, but now that's not crazy anymore, is it?
Yeah.
Probably number 1 right now, you might say.
From last year's draft class?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was getting MVS comps. That's why these whole comp things are kind of like throw them out the window.
I don't like doing comp at all, man. I just don't. It's not fair to the guy. It's not. Oh man, he looks like him. He's built like him, and it don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
I like none of that.
I like more of when they compare an aspect to their game to somebody. Like he looks like so and so when he does this. Like it doesn't mean he's going to be 1,500 yards and 95 catches. It just means he tracks the ball like that. Coming out of school.
I mean, I see that, but to me, you're going against superior competition when you get into the NFL. I mean, it was things like they were talking like there was one conversation. I guess they were talking about Shador, like, hey, man, you loft these balls up. It's going the other way. And then who was it that was going at each other?
It was Darius. It was about patting the ball. It was Darius Slayton
yes.
Yeah.
You pat the ball. The ball's going the other way on that tail. And then who's the wide receiver that was sitting there like, somebody who's saying that just, who doesn't play well, or, he was kind of rebutting what he was saying. But I was like, wow, okay, this is kind of where it is. So
yeah, it was Andre Cisco was dogging the Pats, and then Darius Slayton defended Shador. And a lot of people think that's because the Giants may draft Shador, so he wants to get on the good side of his quarterback.
Yeah. So I do believe that this is just off, cuff here, but I think Shador probably be better going somewhere behind the guy for a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I've seen some where they say he's going to slip all the way down where the Raiders are, and the Raiders could potentially draft him to be behind Geno Smith for the next 2 years, and that doesn't. That wouldn't be crazy at all.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the extended mock drafts that I've seen, the ones that actually do the full 2-hour show to talk about each pick and talk about the coaching staff, and a lot of them have him slipping into the early 20s.
Yeah, well, a lot of people said that
Pittsburgh's one that I've seen pop up, which that'd be great for them. I mean, especially after all I don't think they still haven't come to a decision on quarterback, right?
They're waiting on Rodgers. They're hoping Rodgers makes a decision soon.
Exactly. And I think Rodgers is probably waiting on the draft at this point, too.
Well, but for him, though, because the whole kind of thing right now is if it goes to draft, because they have to have a strategy here. I mean, you can't just they're just waiting on Rodgers to come in and do it, because apparently if they sign Rodgers, they won't draft a quarterback in the early rounds of the draft.
Yeah, believe it when I see it, and I'm sure Rodgers feels the same way, man. Last thing he wants to do is sign a contract and then that team draft Sanders. Because let's say Pittsburgh thinks that because they don't think Sanders will fall. Let's say Sanders is there. You think 1 year with Rodgers is going to stop Pittsburgh from drafting Sanders? Absolutely not. And Rodgers does not want that. So I think he might be waiting for the draft to finish to know where he can go and actually start this year in a decent situation.
He'll start regardless of where he goes, man. But he got to realize he's 55 years old, man. He need to. His time is at the end, man. Go on, man. Go on and ride off into the sunset. Go get you some Ayasaka, whatever it is, man, and just have a good time, okay? In La La Land. And just shoot. Call the career, baby. Call the career. You can grow your hair out like Nicolas Cage all you want to. Do all those things.
Do all that. Yeah, the report I read was Albert Breer said that there will be a decision within at least the next 2 weeks from Rodgers, and all signs point to him signing in Pittsburgh. But that's more so the hope from Pittsburgh that he makes a decision within the next 2 weeks. That's on their end, because apparently the closer it gets to the draft, that kind of messes with their whole strategy, and that's kind of the whole thing right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it all gets thrown out if they are not expecting Sanders to fall, or maybe they are. I don't know.
Yeah, they said teams would trade up if he does fall to trade ahead of Pittsburgh, so they could get Shador.
Oh, really? Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, that's
the team right in front of Pittsburgh, man. They're like, ooh, we can't wait for.
I know,
man.
Linda Carter saying, "Can AR just go away?" Yeah, shoe fly. Rodgers is a locker room cancer. Sasha says, "Yes, he is." Just, hey man, that guy.
Yeah. Did have a question here from our guy, the barbershop, before we go to our next player. Question: what position would y'all consider to be a position of need? I think I don't know if JD, you're still with me on D tackle. Is that the number one need for you still?
Yeah, D tackle, defensive end for sure.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, you can make a lot of. We don't have a lot of immediate positions in need, because I think we did a really good job of filling up our this year's cup board. I think it's full, but
right. But if you were Brett Veach, though, who would be right now?
Yeah, I was getting there. Beyond this year, you have DN, D tackle, linebacker, It all really depends, I think, at the end of the day, who you expect to get re-signed. I think I would probably go D-end.
Over D tackle. Okay.
We have an all-pro D tackle.
Yeah.
We don't have a DN on the roster after next year. There's a big difference there. All-pro, nobody.
Well, we have FAU, so.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not giving up yet.
No, hey, man.
I'm not penciling him as a starter either.
Yeah.
Saying FAU is the only DN we have is pretty much saying.
I was kind of joking, but
no, I know we need DN. I think we need both. I that's why you can make that argument, but I just think
speaking of DN, the deadline for the 50-year option is coming up here soon for Karlaftis and McDuffie. So I'm interested to see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll know if we have one more year of slack. That's good.
Yeah, that's coming up soon.
Those are big contract numbers, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
for both of those guys, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's below market value for both of them, so that's okay. But it's still a decent number. It's not like it's like cheap or anything.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.